Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let the Truth Speak, where we talk about information surrounding the Kroger-owned grocery chain King Soopers right here in the state of Colorado. So we are back with yet another special report, and it's just to go over what came out yesterday, I believe. It's a letter from the union. The strike has been authorized, at least in the areas where the votes took place and for those areas where the contracts expired. So they are officially going on strike. The counts for the votes have ended for those strike votes, and it is unanimous overwhelmingly. And they sent a letter out for it, and we're just going to go over the letter real quick. It was posted on Facebook, and I'm going to assume it was probably sent out like in physical form too. But we actually have two posters that were posted on Facebook that we're gonna go over. The first one is a letter. The second one is just a poster, and it's nothing really to read, but it does show the percentages of what the votes were. And I just want to show that because I just want to touch on it a little bit because it's wild how high the numbers were. So yeah, let's go over this real quick. So this was released January 30th. So this was yesterday, if I remember correctly. And so here we go. Colorado grocery workers vote to authorize ULP strike. ULP means unfair labor practice. So let's do this here. Denver, Colorado. After 2 days of vote meetings at which union grocery store workers for Kroger-owned King Soopers were deciding whether or not to approve an unfair labor practice strike, the results are clear. Workers voted overwhelmingly to approve a strike and authorize UFCW Local 7 leadership to call the unfair labor practice strike. The exact times, dates, and locations of the strikes will be determined later and will be announced to workers and the public in advance of any strike. The vote meetings held on Wednesday and Thursday were for workers in the Metro, Denver, Boulder, Parker, and Broomfield bargaining units. 95% of workers in the Denver meat bargaining unit voted to strike. 96% of workers in the Denver retail bargaining unit voted to strike. Those numbers are wild. I told you guys this one was going to be a lot bigger than the last one. These numbers are no joke. That's wild. Additional votes will be taking place for workers in Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Considering the report that I mentioned in the previous special report that I just came out with, I know for a fact Colorado Springs they're gonna vote yes. They're gonna vote yes. There's no way they're not going to, considering what just happened a week ago. But Colorado Springs and Pueblo on Friday and Saturday. Got it. Those votes could authorize strikes in additional locations. There are multiple unfair labor practice charges we have filed against King Soopers over the last several months. Thank God. But of course, because this time around, they are doing a lot of illegal things, as we've already covered. These range from illegal intimidation of workers by the employer to the employer's failure to provide needed information on staffing to allow for the union to prepare a comprehensive proposal to resolve the staffing crisis in King Soopers' stores, said Kim Cordova, president of UFCW Local 7. Cordova added, Kroger negotiators have illegally insisted on robbing retiree health care benefits to fund wage increases for workers today. And again, I went over this in a previous video. That actually is not illegal based on what we went over. However, it's still wrong. It's still wrong. It is still entirely wrong, and it absolutely should not be stood for. Sadly, this company's targeting a fixed income retirees and other vulnerable populations only compounds its history of targeting consumers with predatory pricing. I have worked at King Soopers for 7 years, and we have been in negotiations since October to reach a new contract. Staffing in our stores is at an unsustainable level. Workers are asked to do the job of 2 or 3 people, leading to bare shelves and long lines. Kroger has prevented us from reaching a contract as a result of their unfair labor practices. The company has left us no choice other than to call a strike, said Connor Hall, a deli clerk from Boulder, Colorado. Yes, we even got normal clerks speaking out here. Yes, let's keep this up. We need more people saying things like that. We hope that this gives us an opportunity to raise our concerns to the public because they have been falling on deaf ears with the employer. Absolutely. And that is why this channel exists, because if the company's not going to listen, then we need to get somebody else to listen, so to speak. We need more people to know what's happening here and how crazy King Soopers, quite frankly, has been for many, 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 many years. Because I really feel like, the last strike that we had in 2022 and even the voices that tried to speak out about it, myself included, still kind of, it didn't get out there. It didn't get out there as much as it honestly really needs to. And maybe, hopefully, we can make a much bigger impact on getting this stuff out there this time around compared to last time. We'll see, but that's why we're here, baby. So let's finish out this letter. UFCW Local 7 represents 23,000 union grocery store workers across Colorado. 12,000 of those workers are employed at King Soopers in city market stores. The timing of any strike and locations for where a strike would occur will be announced at a later date. And there you have it for the letter here. And lastly, the second post was just a poster. I just want to bring this up real quick. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the percentages here. Boulder Meat had a 90.6% yes vote for a strike. Broomfield Retail had a 93.8% for a yes vote. Broomfield Meat had a 100% yes vote. That is crazy. Denver Retail had a 95.7% yes vote. Denver Meat had a 95.4% yes vote. And Parker Meat had a, once again, 100% yes vote. That, wow. Keep in mind, these vote times were divided into 3 times over the course of 2 days. So 2 days, both at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. And Broomfield Meat and Parker Meat both had 100% from all 3 of those gatherings. And like I said in the previous special report, I was there at the January 29th vote at the 1 p.m. time. I was at the 1 p.m. time. And the massive amount of people that I saw there was wild. It was a much bigger turnout rate than I've ever seen before. And just imagining what I saw there, just imagining that a number of people and just thinking not a single person on all 3 time frames having that same level of turnout rate, or maybe more, nobody voted no. Wild. Wild. This is going to be so great. This is going to be so great. There is one more thing I did want to say though. Report to work as scheduled until advised by the union. So to clarify on that, because I did read the comments section of some of these posts. Some of the posts here. For those Facebook posts, I did read the comment section a little bit. I skimmed through some of the things that I saw some people were saying. There were some questions being asked, stuff like that. One of the questions I did see that hopefully I can clarify for you people here in this report. Somebody asked if a strike is called for, do people walk out immediately, or are they allowed to finish their shift for the day? Let me tell you something. As somebody who has participated in a strike, for those wondering that, if the union calls for you to clock out immediately. Immediately. Because the thing is, there's a lot of things that play into this here. For starters, when a strike is called, I don't know for sure. I could be wrong about this. But when a strike is called, if you're a union member and you have full plans to participate in the strike and you're voting yes, you have to clock out and walk out. You can't, there is no finishing your shift. At that moment, you have to walk out, because if you don't, I think that counts as crossing the picket line and you're going to lose your benefits. You're going to lose your benefits. So if the union calls for a strike, regardless of what happens, regardless of what is being said, and regardless of what's happening, you clock out immediately, you walk out. Whatever Kings is telling you that you're allowed to finish your shift or whatever is partially a lie, okay? Because they're probably they're probably failing to mention on purpose that you will lose your benefits if you don't walk out immediately and you're a union member and you plan on striking. Another thing to consider is, even if you do try to finish out your shift, so to speak, they're going to try to take advantage of you if you do that. They're going to try to get you to, do things that are illegal or against the rules, whatever the case may be. And you can't, in situations like this, there is no trusting the company anymore. As soon as the strike is called, walk. That's what we did in the last strike, and it is a necessity for everybody to do that again this strike. So to answer that question, yes, or no, I should say no, do not finish your shift. If they call for a strike, immediately clock out, walk right out. There was a couple other things that I saw in the comments section that, real quick before I end this report, I want to preface something. There were a couple people who brought up Trump and stuff and just political things. And let me tell you something. This has nothing to do with politics. Okay? It mostly, the reason behind this, the reason behind the strike mostly has nothing to do with politics. It's mainly directed towards King themselves, specifically Joe Kelly. Okay. Yes, as I've passionately explained in previous videos, yes, there are some politics that do play into fanning the flames and causing more tension, more anger, more, frustration. But it's those politics that do play into this. It's mostly economic related politics. It has nothing to do with who the hell the president is, what kind of things they're talking about, what the federal stuff is happening. Now, somebody did bring up an executive order that Trump made, kneecapping, something that could potentially affect union strikes. And I will admit, I haven't looked too deeply into that yet, but let me be clear here. I really don't think, whatever it is, I really don't think it's going to have much, if any at all, impact on union strikes. Because you have to remember, you have to keep this in mind. Strikes are mostly funded by the union's money, not the state government, not the federal government. In fact, it has nothing to do with any government. This is the union, the company union. Their funds. They are the ones that are funding the strike. Obviously, you can make donations. Other companies can make donations to further fund strikes. That happened in the last strike. That could potentially happen again this strike. Not sure. But you have to keep in mind, these are things that we have funded thanks to union fees and union dues. We've already automatically helped fund this. So unless there is a direct interference by the federal government or the state government in some kind of way to disrupt a strike, which has never happened, by the way, and as far as I'm aware, it will not happen this time around. And whatever executive order Trump signed has nothing to do with interfering with the strike. That's not going to happen, is what I'm saying, as far as I'm aware. So you keep in mind, the union is funding this. So there's not going to be any disruption of it. Ignore again, like I said, unless it's a direct standing in, which there are none so far, ignore the executive orders that Trump's making because they have nothing to do with this. They have no impact on this. Leave politics that have nothing to do with this out of it. Economic politics play a lot into this, okay? And I'm hoping the strike elevates itself and actually kind of touches on that too, beyond the company, as I've passionately ranted about in previous reports already. But, pushing the economic stuff definitely does play into this. But all of the other politics stuff, like, Trump being our president stuff, leave that at the door, people. That has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with this. This is a local thing, okay? We're not striking, to stick it to Trump. That's not what's happening here, people. Again, leave those kinds of politics out of it. Feel free to bring the economic stuff to the door, but leave the rest of it out of this, okay? Who cares about Trump? Who cares about the administration? Who cares about any of that shit that's going on? Okay, that has nothing to do with this. This is local. This is aimed. Keep your attention and focus on King Soopers, Joe Kelly, the job that you've been working this entire time and for many years now. The rest of the shit doesn't matter because it has no immediate impact on us. It has nothing to do with us. So please, I highly suggest, okay, leave anything that's not economic politics out of this because it's got nothing to do with this. Okay. I end my report here. That's all I wanted to go over. Hopefully this is going to be a huge, keep in mind, as they've already said in the letter, there's more votes to come. And based on the percentages of these initial votes, man, this strike's going to be huge, and I'm here for it. We are here for it. And remember, we let the truth speak. I'll catch you guys in the next report. I'll see you later.